you mentioned that you do look at character. So I was actually, as I was thinking more and more about your job as in Central Scouting, I actually thought that there would be a different perception. So, and my perception was, because you're not working exactly with a team, that you're just strictly looking at players and you're saying, okay, best hockey player. And you're going best hockey player, best hockey player, best hockey player, and not so much about the character. And I just kind of thought that the Central Scouting would not necessarily take character into as much consideration, because it's not something that you necessarily have to deal with or something like that, but you actually do look at character. So can you explain that? Because that's something that I truly believe is a huge part of hockey, obviously. So can you talk about that with character? What do you mean by character?
Absolutely. But just first, Andy, I don't work for a team. I work for all of our teams. I work for all 20 member clubs. And that's why characters, it's huge. So looking at just at the end of the day, the team, an Ontario Hockey League team is investing anywhere between $10,000 to $15,000 in a player per year that they play for that organization. You got to think of all the equipment and travel, like all those hockey expenses, but then now they're schooling, because not everyone on the Windsor Spitfires is from Windsor.
Yep.
Players from the U.S., you have players from Toronto, Ottawa, Sudbury. You got to find them housing, and you got to find them a school. So there's money there invested there, and then the schooling packages after you're done. That's a $60,000 over 4 years of university or college. That's a $60,000 investment. So at the end of the day, a team is putting nearly $100,000 of their hard-earned money into your future per player. And that's a huge reason why we have to look at character. So the first thing for me, after, of course, if a kid is a relative, he has the skills to play, is the first thing I ask their coach is, how is he as a teammate? What's his character? This year, I had coaches personally telling me that they would not draft this player if they were drafting at all, even though the player had a ton of skill. They would not draft him because of he just wasn't a good teammate. After being a good teammate, is you have to ask about their schooling. The old adage is that if you're not a good student, you can't play. If you're not a good student, the OHL or the WHL or the Quebec League is the league for you. That's not true at all. You have to be a good student. Guys like Joe Birch, who came in that 2006 draft year, that was his big thing. He did a great job there. And then now Kyle Pereira, who does the same thing for the Ontario League. He's the director of education and recruitment. It's the same thing. The grades have to be there. You have to be a good student. You can't, quote unquote, you can't be a dummy. The next thing, and this is something I learned from actually my mom. My mom works with the team doctor for the Cleveland Browns and the Cleveland Indians. And at the draft table, they're ready to draft a guy, and they will look at the guy and goes, what is his social media? And the guy will give the thumb up or the thumb down. And I know the Browns have not taken a player because they're just stupid on social media. So you really have to watch that as a young player. I know you want to have your opinion and everything, but you really got to be careful with that. And then the last thing about character is for us is off-ice training. That's one thing I'll ask. Do they skip workouts? Do they skip video? I mean, I understand skipping, one video or one off-ice workout because, you have a paper to write or you have a test to study for before your practice. But if they're routinely missing 4, 5, 6 of these kind of sessions over the year, that's something that teams that definitely look into.
Yeah, character is a huge thing. So it surprised me from your angle that it was important. So coach or teams ask that. So as a scout, you're not just watching the game, you're watching a kid walk by you, how he's treating people, the whole thing. So it never changes. It doesn't matter who you are.
Absolutely. One thing, Andy, just from this past year coaching at Honeybaked, we had a very, very good club. And one of our guys was skipping the pregame. Wasn't skipping it. He was doing his own thing. A scout asked about it, like, why does he do his own thing? And the coach was like, what do you mean he does his own thing? He walks out with the players. He walks out and he comes back with them. And so we had to actually go watch our team warm up off ice. And we're like, hey, why are you doing your own thing? And he's just like, my focus, he just wanted to get focused. That's what he was telling us. Yeah. He was still warming up, but we're like, hey, do it as a team, and then do it before and after. Cause that's something that, these guys are here to watch us play. They're noticing that you're off doing your own thing. So just be careful with that. I'd say especially goaltenders, watch that. Cause I know goalies go through a whole different type of warm up after, but make sure you warm up with your team players and then go off and do your own thing after your team warm-up is done.